Hello and welcome. Today we're going to journey all the way back to the very beginning. We'll be looking at the incredible origin story of the first human being, the father of all prophets, Adam, peace be upon him. You see, this isn't just his story, it's a story that truly defines our purpose. And really, it all starts with one of the biggest questions of all, doesn't it? It's a question that has been asked for centuries, one that I'm sure has crossed your mind too. Why are we even here? Why did God create us in the first place? Well, to even begin to answer that, we have to go back to a time before we even existed, a time when a divine plan was just starting to unfold. So, let's start with part 1, a divine question, setting the stage for our existence. So, imagine this moment. Allah, God, announces his plan to the angels. He says, "Indeed, I will make upon the earth a successive authority." Now, think about that. He wasn't just planning to make another creature. No, this was going to be something completely different, an inhabitant with a real, specific purpose, a special kind of authority on earth. This single announcement really set the stage for everything that was to come.
And this is where things get really interesting. The angels, they had a question. They asked essentially, are you sure about this? Are you going to put someone on earth who will cause trouble and spill blood while we're right here constantly praising you? Now, it's so important to understand this wasn't defiance. It wasn't them challenging God's authority. It was a genuine question, probably coming from a place of concern, maybe based on things they'd seen before. They just couldn't see the master plan yet.
And God's reply? It was so simple yet so incredibly profound. He just said, "Indeed, I know that which you do not know." And with that one sentence, everything changes. It's a gentle reminder that his wisdom is infinite. He could see a potential, a purpose, a capacity for greatness that at that moment was just completely beyond what the angels could grasp.
So this divine plan, it leads us right to the heart of our purpose. Let's look at part 2, the plan for earth and the role of the khalifah.
And that central role has a name, khalifah. Now let's be really clear about what this means. This isn't about being a king or a ruler in the sense of domination. It's about being a steward, a caretaker. Think of it as being entrusted with something precious. It's a position of incredible honor and trust, a responsibility to basically act as God's deputy on earth. And that's not just some ancient idea, right? It's our sacred duty today. When we protect our planet, when we fight for justice, when we build kind and caring communities, that's us living out our role as khalifah.
Okay, so if you're going to give someone such a massive responsibility, how do you prepare them for it? What do you give them? Well, that brings us to part 3, the first lesson, the gift that truly defined humanity.
The creation of Adam itself was just miraculous, an act of incredible honor. I mean, think about it. He was formed from something as humble as clay, but shaped by God's own hands. Life itself was breathed into him from the divine spirit. And then he was given this noble form and all the tools he'd need: hearing, sight, the ability to speak, to engage with the world around him.
But here is the real game changer, the unique gift that set humanity apart. Allah taught Adam the names of all things. And no, this wasn't just a vocabulary test. This was so much deeper. It was like being given the operating system for reality. It was the gift of knowledge, of consciousness itself, the ability to think, to reason, to put things into categories, and to truly understand the world.
And with that gift of knowledge came a potential that was, in its own way, superior even to that of the angels. See, in this one area, this ability to understand concepts, to learn endlessly, humanity was given something truly special. And it makes perfect sense, right? This ability to learn and use knowledge, that's the exact tool we need to be good stewards, to be the khalifah on earth.
All right, so the stage is set. Our ancestor is created, honored with knowledge. And now comes the turning point. A pivotal moment, a test of honor that would expose the difference between true obedience and deadly pride.
So God issues a command to the angels, prostrate to Adam. Now, let's be very clear, this wasn't worship of Adam. It was a sign of respect for God's new creation, a way of acknowledging his wisdom. And the response was immediate. The angels, in their complete humility and obedience, they prostrated. But there was one who refused, Iblis. And it's really important to know, the Quran tells us he wasn't an angel. He was one of the jinn, a being created from smokeless fire. And it was his pride that became his undoing.
And listen to his reasoning. It tells you everything you need to know. He says, I am better than him. You created me from fire and created him from clay. See? His refusal had nothing to do with logic or reason. It was pure arrogance. He was judging someone's worth based on what they were made of, fire versus clay. And in that moment of blinding pride, he didn't just disobey God. He basically committed the very first act of racist or supremacist thinking.
So you might be thinking, that's an ancient story. What does it have to do with me? Well, everything. This isn't just history, it's the very foundation of who we are. So for our final section, let's connect the dots and talk about our sacred purpose, what our role is today.
So why does all of this matter to you and me? Because we are the children of Adam. We are the inheritors of that very same sacred trust. Our purpose is to know God and to worship Him. We've been entrusted with this beautiful earth as its caretakers. We were given this amazing gift of knowledge to help us fulfill that purpose. And the story makes it crystal clear. Real honor comes from humility, not from pride and arrogance. And the only proper response to all these blessings, it's gratitude.
And so here we are, a story that began with a divine plan in the heavens, now rests squarely on our shoulders. The honor, the responsibility, that role of stewardship, that sacred trust has been passed down to every single one of us. So the only question left, really, is for you to answer for yourself.
If this deep dive into our shared story has given you some food for thought, I hope you'll consider subscribing to XSURAH. We have many more explainers like this, designed to help us connect with our sacred purpose. Thanks so much for joining me today.